In criminal defense attorney Ashley Bargainquest, I want to ask you, I mean, this is a pretty good redirect, really good points about you have pictures of injuries, and he says to this witness, can you know who the aggressor was? And her answer is no, I can't. And so it kind of downplays what Cross was trying to do, I think.
Well, there is a certain power to refuting what has just been presented, right? Leaving it completely unaddressed can be pretty dangerous, because then the narrative that's presented by the presenting side is what takes over in the jurors' minds. Here, by addressing it and saying, you know, these don't tell the whole story, at least it's being addressed and the jury isn't left, you know, in the prosecutor's point of view, with the defense story. However, you also have, you know, the fact that, of course, a picture doesn't tell the entire story, but it's the jury's job to put everything together. So it's just something to consider. And I do believe that the defense did a good job in using it, showing what wasn't considered by this expert. And so you have a back and forth of what did you consider, what didn't you consider, what should you have considered, and that's what the jury gets to put together.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that, Ashley. Let me ask you one other question. A lot of viewers have been commenting on the fact that Sarah Boone, we just showed video, we'll see if we can show it again, where she's laughing and smiling when she's talking to her attorney before she gets on the stand. I don't really think this is weird. She is a person, yes, she's there for a very serious matter. She doesn't really seem that remorseful over the death of George Torres, her boyfriend at the time, but I do think defendants sometimes are going to show this part of themselves, and it's not necessarily unusual, but weigh in.
I don't think it's unusual. I believe that individuals who have experienced, you know, I mean, the trauma of going through the criminal justice system are often relieved to be in trial. It's an incredibly stressful thing to be there, and every moment counts. And so a lot of defendants can be very stone-faced during that period just because they are so nervous. But nervousness shows in a lot of different ways. And that nervousness is not about whether or not someone is guilty or innocent, but about finally having their day in court. This has been a very drawn-out process. This has been a very difficult process. Following this case, you know that Sarah Boone has, you know, represented herself at different times and worked very hard and overcome a lot of difficulties and gone through a lot just to get here. So perhaps that's relief showing. Perhaps she's glad to be able to finally tell her part of the story to the jury, right? Let them know what her experience was. I don't believe laughing or smiling says anything specifically about guilt or innocence. It's just a human reaction to a lot of input.
Well, I really appreciate your insight on that. The sidebar is now over, so let's get back inside that courtroom.